Some stories are too terrifying because they're real. Tonight, you'll hear 10 true horror stories that happened to real people. Stories that will make you double-check your locks and think twice before trusting anyone. Story 1. The man outside my window. It all started less than 20 minutes before I began writing this. I was sitting alone in my small apartment in a quiet suburb. My roommate was an hour away, and the evening had settled into a kind of uneasy stillness. The hum of the refrigerator, the occasional car passing by, everything felt ordinary. Then I heard it. A scream, sharp, frantic, almost inhuman, slicing through the calm night air. My heart skipped a beat. I rushed to the window. There he was, a man I had never seen before, pacing back and forth on the lawn below. His movements were erratic. He swung a sweater over his head like some kind of weapon, shouting nonsense, his voice cracking and uneven. There was something utterly unstable about him, and unpredictability that made every instinct in my body scream danger. I froze. For a moment, I just watched, my hands pressed against the cold glass. The light from my room spilled into the night, revealing me. That's when he stopped. He looked straight up at my window, his eyes locked onto mine. Slowly, deliberately, he pointed. "Hey you, I see you. Come talk to me." I don't remember thinking. My survival instincts kicked in. I switched off the lights. Darkness swallowed the room, but he had already seen me. Moments later, I heard him crossing the grass, each footstep deliberate, measured, terrifyingly calm. And then the pounding on my door began, fists slamming, each hit sending a shiver down my spine. I grabbed my dog first, then a knife from the kitchen drawer. Heart pounding, I locked myself inside my bedroom, dialed 911, and prayed they would arrive quickly. The minutes felt like hours. Every sound outside my door twisted my fear tighter. When the police finally arrived, they told me he was known to the mental illness, drug-related issues, prior violent behavior. But even knowing this, the fear didn't leave, because he knows exactly where I live. And sometimes, that's worse than not knowing at all. Story 2. The man in the closet. I was 10 years old when it happened. It was a quiet, rainy night. The kind where every creak of the house seems louder than usual, and shadows stretch across your bedroom walls like something alive. I had just fallen asleep when a strange noise woke me, a soft scratching under my bed. At first I thought it was the family cat, but then I felt it. Something prodded me. Lightly at first, then more insistent. My heart started hammering in my chest. I opened my eyes and froze. A man was standing over my bed. He was pale, his eyes dark, fixed on me with a cold, unreadable expression. He was touching me, not violently, but in a way that made my skin crawl. My brain screamed, "This isn't real," but I knew it was. Then, as suddenly as he appeared, he dropped to the floor, lying flat, pretending to be asleep. I didn't know what to do. I bolted out of the bed, my little body trembling, and ran through the house. I checked every room, every window, every door. All locked, all secure. I tried to calm myself. Maybe I was imagining it. Maybe I was dreaming. But later that night, I saw him again, standing perfectly still inside my closet, watching. I screamed and woke my parents, but by the time they came, he was gone. No footprints, no signs of forced entry. Just a closet door that had been left slightly ajar. The police investigated. They found nothing. No fingerprints, no witnesses, no clues except for one horrifying possibility. Someone we trusted had a key. And that knowledge, that tiny shred of reality, made the fear impossible to shake. Even today, I can't walk past a closet without checking twice. Story 3. My secret admirer. I was 14 when it started. It began innocently enough, just a love letter tucked into my school locker. The handwriting was neat, the words oddly sweet, but something about it sent a shiver down my spine. Then there was another, and another. Each letter became increasingly personal, more invasive. They knew things about me no one should have known. One day, I opened my locker and froze. Inside was a photograph of me cut straight from my school pictures. My hands shook as I held it. Who would do this? Who could get this close without being noticed? A few days later, the horror escalated. A dead rabbit appeared on my front porch. My parents were horrified, my siblings terrified. I didn't sleep that night. Every shadow, every sound outside my window made my heart race. The final note arrived with the rabbit's severed foot. It wasn't just a threat, it was a message. Someone was obsessed. Someone had been watching me for a long time. The police never caught the stalker. Every lead ended in a dead end. I was left with a gnawing fear, constantly looking over my shoulder, even at school. Years later, long after I had moved away and tried to forget, another letter arrived at my new address. The same handwriting, the same sinister signature. Your secret admirer. And just like that, all the fear I thought I had left behind came rushing back. Some people don't just admire you, they claim ownership of your life. Story 4. The Woman with the Stroller. It was a warm, late afternoon when it happened. I was walking home with my little sister and a couple of friends. The streets were quiet, the sun beginning to set, painting everything in a soft, golden glow. It should have felt safe, ordinary, but then she appeared. A woman, standing on the sidewalk, looking flustered and frantic. She called out to us, asking for help. Her voice was soft, almost pleading. She said she was lost, that she needed to find her way home. She was pushing a stroller. Instinctively, I glanced in sight and froze. There was no baby. Just a doll, a lifeless, eerily realistic doll. Its eyes seemed to stare right at me, hollow and blank. My stomach dropped. Something about the scene didn't make sense. Why would someone ask for help with a stroller, only for it to contain a doll? Before I could react, she smiled, a slow, unsettling smile. We didn't wait to find out. My sister grabbed my hand and we ran. Heart pounding, footsteps echoing in the empty street, adrenaline surging through our veins. Minutes later, a van screeched to a halt nearby. Tires squealed against the asphalt, and just like that, she vanished. No sign of the woman, no explanation. Even now, when I walk past that street, I remember the hollow eyes of that doll and the unnatural calm in the woman's expression. Some encounters are brief, but their fear lingers forever. Story 5. The Neighbor Who Wouldn't Leave. It all started with a small argument. Nothing serious, just a disagreement over parking spaces with the neighbor next door. At first, I thought it would blow over, like most things do, but it didn't. He became obsessed. At first, it was subtle, catching glimpses of him staring at our house through the curtains, noticing him parked on the street for hours at a time. At first, we tried to ignore it, chalking it up to coincidence. Then it escalated. He began following us, to the grocery store, the park, even to school events. Every outing, every little errand, he seemed to be there. He would linger, sometimes pretending to be on his phone, sometimes just watching. Always watching. For 2 years, this went on. Threats followed, anonymous letters, phone calls in the middle of the night, fake lawsuits. He even tried to involve neighbors and friends to make us look bad. When the police finally got involved, they warned us. Some people don't move on. They just wait. And he did. Even after serving time in prison, he attempted to return, tried to contact us through friends, through notes, slipped under the door. Some people don't see boundaries. Some people don't understand fear. They thrive on it. Living in that neighborhood felt like walking a tightrope. Every sound outside our windows, every car that slowed down in front of our house, made our hearts race. The lesson. Some people don't just dislike you, they become an obsession. An obsession doesn't end. Story 6. He found me. I thought ignoring his messages on Facebook for years would be enough, but it wasn't. It started with a subtle feeling. I would get texts late at night, then see his profile pop up in mutual groups, always lurking, always watching. I tried to shrug it off. People can be creepy online, but I never expected it to cross into reality. Then, one weekend, I went to a local festival with friends. The music was loud, lights flashing, the crowd buzzing with excitement. I was laughing, letting myself relax for the first time in months until I saw him. He was standing across the street, partially hidden in the crowd, staring directly at me. My stomach dropped. Every instinct in my body screamed, danger. Later that night, I went to my favorite bar. I thought being surrounded by people would make me feel safe, but he was there too. Sitting quietly at the bar, pretending to mind his own business, but I knew he had been following me. He had tracked me across miles. I had no idea how he found me, no clue how he knew where I would be. That night, I left early. My friends didn't understand why I was so jumpy, why my eyes darted every few seconds, why my heart wouldn't stop racing. Even now, I can't shake the feeling that someone is always watching. Some people don't just want to meet you. Some people don't just want to talk. Some people want control. And once they decide you're theirs, it doesn't matter how far you run. Story 7. The dog that saved my life. It was a quiet evening. The streets were almost empty. The kind of night where the air feels heavy, and every shadow seems to stretch just a little too long. I was walking home alone, my dog trotting calmly beside me. Normally, I loved these walks. They were peaceful, a chance to clear my head. But that night, something felt off. I didn't see him at first. A man, moving silently, keeping to the shadows, approaching from behind. There was no noise, no warning, just the feeling of someone there. Before I could turn around, my dog stiffened. His fur bristled. A low growl rumbled deep in his chest. I froze. My heart leaped into my throat. The man stepped closer, and then my dog lunged. Barking, teeth bared, growling with a ferocity I had never seen before. The man froze. Startled by the sudden attack, he ran. I watched him disappear into the darkness, my legs trembling. I knelt down, hugging my dog tightly, my hands shaking. My heart was still racing, but I felt safe. That night, I realized something important. Instincts can save you in ways reason cannot. My dog had protected me from a threat I didn't even fully comprehend. From that day on, I never ignored his behavior. I never dismissed the warning signs. Sometimes, the scariest moments are the ones we never see coming. And the heroes aren't always human. Story 8. The Phone Store Stalker. It all started innocently. I went to a local phone store to buy a new device. The salesman was friendly, helpful. He explained features, set up my accounts, and wished me a good day. Nothing unusual, but then it began. A few days later, my phone buzzed, a text from him. At first, it was harmless, checking in, asking if everything was working fine. But the messages didn't stop. They kept coming, sometimes late at night, sometimes at odd hours. Each one felt more invasive than the last. Then came the calls, not just once or twice, but dozens, over and over, ringing, when I was at work, ringing when I was asleep. Sometimes when I ignored them, they would leave cryptic voicemails, short breaths, whispers. Panic started to creep in. Who was this man? How did he have my number? He was supposed to help me with my phone, not this. Eventually, I had no choice. I had to change my number completely. Delete accounts. Cut off contact entirely. All because someone had abused access to my personal information. Even now, I hesitate when I give my number to strangers. Even now, I double-check that my accounts are secure. Some people don't just cross boundaries. Some people exploit them, and the fear lingers long after the first message. Story 9. He knew my dead name. It started innocently enough, swiping on a dating app, trying to meet someone new. I had updated my profile, used my chosen name, and felt safe behind the screen. But he found me. Not just online, not just on the app. He somehow discovered my dead name, my old identity, my old address. Details I thought were private. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. But then he appeared. Outside my apartment, standing on the sidewalk, chain-smoking, leaning against a street lamp. His eyes followed me every time I moved. My stomach twisted into knots. My hands shook. I tried to ignore him. I tried to pretend he wasn't there. But the fear was suffocating. Every time I looked out my window, I half expected to see him standing in the same spot, just waiting. Eventually, I realized I couldn't stay. I had to move. Quickly, far away from anyone who could track me. So easily, someone who clearly had obsession, not interest, in mind. Some people don't just want dates. Some people don't just want attention. Some people want control. And once they fix their gaze on you, it's terrifyingly persistent. Story 10. The Grinder Encounter. It started like any other casual meet. I had arranged to meet someone less than a block from my apartment, thinking it would be quick, simple, and safe. But the moment I walked inside, everything changed. He didn't greet me politely. He didn't offer any small talk. Instead, he pulled out a syringe and injected drugs right in front of me. My heart pounded. Fear coursed through every vein. I froze for a moment, unsure whether to confront him or run. I chose survival. I left immediately. I thought I was safe once I stepped outside. But then I noticed him, barefoot, standing in the doorway, watching. I walked faster, my mind racing. Every shadow along the street seemed like him following. Every sound, every distant footstep made my heart leap. Even now, months later, I can still see that building from my window. I can still feel the weight of his gaze, the certainty that he knew exactly where I lived. Some encounters are brief. Some encounters are terrifying because they remind you that strangers can know too much. Some people don't just want a meeting. Some people want to control the moment, the space, the fear. And sometimes you realize you were never really alone.